The first mention of some community in a territory we now call Russia was in the 4th century AD, when the first tribal unions of Eastern Slavs were formed. The following century marked yet another tribal union of Eastern Slavs, the Polians, in the middle basin of the Dnieper River. This period would claim the first written evidence about Rus, or Rusa. In 1558, Avars battled and won over the Slavic tribe of Dulebs, marking the subsequent series of victories and defeats, as well as a broadening of these Slavs nations over a long phase lasting around 300 years. At the beginning of the 8th century, Slavonic tribes began in the upper basins of the Dnieper, western Dvina, and the upper Volga rivers. Towards the end of the century, the ancient state of the Slavs faced opposition from Polians, Severian, Vyatichi, and Radmichi. Throughout this period, Russia was able to stay independent, unlike many other countries in Central Asia that were conquered by the Mongols. The culture of Slavic tribes on the eve of the ancient Russian state was marked by the creation of the Slavic alphabet by Cyril and Methodius in the middle of the 9th century. The Russian language, which at that time was very similar to other Slavic languages, became a source of cultural history. The end of the century set the stage for the reign of Prince Oleg, famous for the unification of the Novgorod and Kiev regencies, and later the transfer of the capital from Novgorod to Kiev. The newly born conquered tribes of Krivichi, Drevlian, the Severians, and Radimichi formed the Kievan Rus. Due to fragmentation and infighting in Russia among the principalities, Genghis Khan's troops were able to gain a rapid and victorious advance. In the second half of the 14th century, the unification process began, with the defeats of the main political rivals by the Moscow Principality in the 60s and 70s of the century. The formation of the Russian land began around Moscow, the city which played a role of supremacy in the region. Moscow took over the organization of a nationwide struggle to overthrow the yoke of the Golden Horde. The final stage of the unification process took about 50 years during the reign of Ivan III, 1462 to 1505. And the first years of the reign of his successor, Vasily II, 1505 to 1533. Peter the Great originated the concept of the Russian Empire and began it with grandiose reforms that the country had never seen before, which included the modernization of the economy, education system. After the socialist revolt of 1917 in Russia, Moscow became the capital once again, and the state system had changed completely. After a revolution by followers of Karl Marx and his communist ideas, Vladimir Lenin became the leader. There was a civil war until 1922, with the aftermath being the formation of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union existed for 70 years, with a body of 16 Soviet republics to the west, southwest, and southeast. During its existence, the Soviet Union significantly raised the education level through the provision of free education. After the Soviet Union ceased to exist in 1992, a phase of self-formation occurred in the republics of the former Soviet Union, and the largest one, the Russian Federation, became the state we know today as Russia.